Gentlemen, today we're sharing with you the best ways to start a conversation with a beautiful woman. Let's face it, if you don't know how to start a conversation with a woman, you're gonna have a tough time getting a date, which is why you need to know these 5 ways to start a conversation with a beautiful woman. And because you'll have a higher chance of getting a date with a woman if you talk to more women, at the end of this video, we're sharing with you the #1 thing you should know before you talk to any woman that will increase your chances of getting a date tenfold. So stay tuned. For now, let's get to the 5 best ways to start a conversation with a beautiful woman. Number 5, K.I.S.S The Situation. Before you ask, no, don't walk up to a gorgeous woman and smack a big, fat, wet one right on her face. Because unless you're as attractive as Bradley Cooper, that is not how you start a conversation. K.I.S.S stands for Keep It Simple, Stupid. And all it means is that when you're trying to start a conversation with a woman, stay out of your head and don't make it more complicated than it needs to be. You don't need to memorize a massively intricate plan in order to talk to a woman. All you need to start a conversation with a woman is a simple hello, some not creepy eye contact, and a smile. Because if you think about it, the main thing you're doing when talking to a woman you find attractive is convincing her you're a normal person who isn't going to murder her later that evening. And starting the conversation in a non-threatening manner by simply saying hello and flashing a smile is a safe and effective way to begin your mating ritual. Keeping the conversation moving is the hard part though, which is why you'll need some conversation starters. Number 4, who are you? Once you've made it past the introduction, you'll need some of the best questions to ask a girl you like, which we've conveniently already made a video about, and you should check it out. Many of the questions in that video are conversation starters, and conversation starters are a tried and true method of starting a thought-provoking conversation. Like we said before, you don't need an intricate plan to start a conversation, but having some conversation starters memorized doesn't hurt. And one of the easiest topics to start a conversation about is the woman you're talking to. So after you say hello, just ask her a question about herself. How's your night going? Have you tried the specialty menu item yet? How do you like the band? Or if you're feeling adventurous and confident and want to make a lasting first impression, throw her a curveball. Just curious, would you rather be able to control fire, water, earth, or air? What's the worst pickup line you've ever heard? I have to know. Would you rather fight a grizzly bear or a swarm of hornets? It doesn't really matter what you say to her. If she thinks you're attractive or she finds you interesting after the first few seconds of talking to you, she'll want to keep the conversation moving to see where it goes. It's your job to keep her engaged. Number 3, get expressive. When you're on the prowl and practicing new tricks to keep a conversation going with a girl, you need to be expressive and excited, but not too much, while talking to her, because the more excited you seem to be about talking to her, the more excited she'll feel because she'll be subconsciously mirroring your emotions. Plus, according to one study from 2016, if you suppress your emotions and try to seem cool and detached, you're actually making it harder to build a connection with the woman you're talking to. So let's say you're telling a story about that time you and your friends rented a cabin in the mountains and a bird accidentally got in. When you're describing how a few of your friends were losing their minds about the whole situation, wouldn't it make for a more hilarious story if you over-exaggerated their terrified reactions with wide eyes and over-the-top hand movements? Of course it would! Oh, and want to know how to take this one to an entirely new level?
Wear a wristwatch. Sure, you guys already know that women love watches and that they're recommended by pretty much every YouTube channel. But how does this help you start a conversation with a beautiful woman? Let's jump back to that Oscar-worthy performance. As you're expressively chucking your arms around, oh, what does she see on your wrist? Why, it's your stylish luxury wristwatch, of course. Not only does your watch make you considerably more attractive to her, but it also gives her an extremely easy conversation starter. In other words, a watch gives her a reason to start a conversation with you. Pretty cool, right? So which conversation starting watch do we recommend? You already know our friends and today's video sponsor, Vincero. They have some of the most affordable yet stylish luxury watches on the market. But what makes them conversation starting watches? Well, first, take a look at these bad boys. They're both bold and unique, and that combo not only gives her an easy excuse to compliment you, but also a reason to come talk to you. In short, Vincero makes exactly the type of watch that women love. Plus, their 15,000 5-star reviews, it doesn't hurt either. They're kind enough to give Mantelligence viewers a huge discount and free shipping. So check out the secret code in the description. And note, it will only work for a limited time, so get on it.
Number 2, waste no time. You know how when you end up making plans with someone a couple of days in advance, and then once that day arrives, you'd rather sit at home in your comfy pants? Everyone does that. And the reason they do it is because a lot can happen in a couple of days. And you may not be as enthusiastic about going out in public as you felt on the day you made those plans. Well, the same thing happens while you're figuring out how to flirt with a girl at a party or a bar, or anywhere you're trying to meet women. The only difference is that you can change your mind about talking to her in a matter of seconds as opposed to days, and completely miss your chance at a successful conversation with her. Approach anxiety is tough, so make sure you check out this video on how to overcome it. But first, here's one trick that almost always keeps approach anxiety at bay. The moment you take that first step towards a girl to start a conversation with her, start counting to 3 in your head. By giving yourself a limited time frame to say hello, you're essentially tricking your brain and forcing it to engage with the beautiful woman you're nervous to talk to. If you give yourself more than 3 seconds to make your move, you give yourself more time to think up all the reasons she probably doesn't want to talk to you. But the thing is, she actually might be wishing you'd hurry up and come say hello. Number 1, location. Picture this scene. You're at the club, the music's thumping, the strobes are flashing, and the alcohol's flowing. You make prolonged eye contact with a beautiful woman, count to 3, walk up to her, say hello, and dish out your conversation starter. Her response? What did you say? Sometimes the best way to start a conversation with a beautiful woman is to do it in the right setting. And a loud club or bar is one of the worst places to meet women. One reason is that women expect to be hit on in these places, and if they just want to have a good time with their friends and don't feel like being hit on, you're only setting yourself up for failure. Another reason is that the club is ridiculously loud and almost impossible to have a conversation in. So instead of trying to start conversations with women in places like that, do it in places women aren't expecting to be talked to, like at the coffee shop or library, or the park, or any other number of places that aren't blasting out 130 decibels of eardrum-shattering sound. Because where you start a conversation with a woman matters just as much as what you say. All right, the number 1 thing you need to do when starting a conversation with a beautiful woman. So now that we've made it to the end of the video, here's the number 1 thing you should always do when trying to start a conversation with a beautiful woman. You can do and say all the right things while talking to her, and you could even be the most charming man she'll meet all week. But just like you have times where you'd rather avoid certain situations, say for example, talking to a complete stranger, women have those same feelings, and sometimes they just don't feel like being bothered. So always pay attention to how a woman is behaving towards you when you start a conversation with her. And always be ready to exit the conversation if it goes south. You can save yourself the sting of rejection by learning the signs a woman wants to be approached before you walk up to her. But if you've started a conversation with a woman and she's avoiding eye contact, giving you boring one-word answers to questions, or she just doesn't seem interested in anything you have to say, she doesn't want to talk to you. And whatever her reason is for being antisocial, she doesn't have to share it with you. So instead of bugging her any longer by asking her why she's being so shy, or getting angry with her after she politely tells you she's not interested, read the signs and apologize for bothering her, wish her a good rest of her day, and walk away. You have to know when to quit. So always be prepared to cut your losses and find another beautiful woman to talk to. There are plenty of them. Those are the 5 best ways to start a conversation with a beautiful woman, and the number 1 thing you should do while trying them out. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, be sure to let us know and give it a thumbs up. And while you're here, why not check out some of these other great videos?